Yep. Alrighty then. Okay, so hello everybody, welcome to the EMU Sprint 4 review. It was a very short sprint, 2-week sprint, primarily aimed at buttoning up things for the EMU release. We actually originally accepted only 86 story points, but over time, as usual, we've added more work. But good news here is we actually finished significant amount of work, or at least finished and started significant amount of work. So there was only 14 points of work that we really didn't get to. So we're improving. Of course, still there's much further way to go. So this is some visuals courtesy of Simon of how we're doing trend-wise. So you can see that our completion percent is actually inching up. So that's good news. Okay, this is our sprint burn down or lack thereof. And like I said, we will take more concrete and more, I guess, more radical steps towards addressing this in Falcon. So on a community side, I'm going to hand it over to David Boswell. Are you there, David?
I don't think David's online.
Oh, he's not. Okay, I was assuming that he was. Okay, well, so let me give an update on his behalf then. We've formulated in the past, we formulated the module owner pilot and we prepared it, and this for this sprint we actually put it in action, where we have a number of developers granted abilities to do +2 and merge, and for select areas of code, and we're already seeing positive results of this in terms of both having a higher rate of reviews and also offload of the core team. So we'll continue to do this, and hopefully as of New Year we'll open up to the wider community. Also, the ONOS website has been redesigned and is ready to go live for our anniversary, and it's been simplified. And also the content for it's been drafted. So it's going to go live about 10 days from now or so. And there's more details on the ONOS blog. The core website is also being redesigned, and the draft designs will be posted shortly for community input. Mark, since you need to go first, do you want to give an update on the IP optical and eCode use case?
Thanks, Tom. So 2 items. The first one is critical for EMU because the resource management was basically broken for packet optical. So we did a lot of stuff. We defined some of the APIs that were necessary, implemented them. There's one more problem that I'm trying to solve now, and then we'll have again a working packet optical subsystem in place. The other part is really for Falcon and has to do with, I know, Thomas, you don't like the term federated, but a type of link discovery where there's different clusters involved.
Mm-hmm.
A different cluster has an endpoint for a link. So we're making some progress there, and that's it.
Yeah, so no, and just to clarify, I was clearly we're going to have to do inter-domain link discovery. In my comments on the code review, I was merely suggesting a separate link discovery approach, but along the same lines as what the original code was, just separate.
Sorry, I didn't want to start the discussion now. I think Ayaka will reach out today.
Catch up with you later. Actually.
Yeah, no problem. I think we're on the right track. Mine was just
okay.
more suggestion.
Someone said is something different.
No, this is this is a natural an edge.
So LINK versus LINC.
Yeah.
What?
Huh? This link here with the K is just a network edge, and Tom is asking about link OE, which is the name of the
drivers
switch.
I was asking drivers. I think he's asking drivers for link. Is that the link software switch? Or?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mark. All right, on a platform, there were a few things that were added. we've added ability to configure link weight functions as defaults, and so this allows the deployer to configure alternate behaviors without having to write code, where we can measure we can assign link weights either by hop count, which was the previous behavior, so that we preserve that, of course, by default. But you can also assign arbitrary link metrics, which are injected using network configuration. And also you can assign link metrics using geographic distance, using the great circle calculation between the vertices of the link. And so this can be all configured just using the component configuration and network configuration. And of course, if you want to write code, you can also inject your own custom link weight functions. And similarly, you can add alternate path algorithms, such as, for example, after we refactor the k shortest paths, we can add it as a configurable alternative to Dijkstra that we have in there. So this will significantly increase the utility of the existing topology/path subsystem without people having to actually write code or write less code. Brian, do you want to give an update? Let me refresh here on the.
So one of the other things that we finished this sprint is we now build ONOS packages that don't require internet access to do deployments. Sorry, to do startup of ONOS. So what we've done here, we actually have a package, a tarball that's about the same size. We have the new non-ONOS features that are dependent, like Guava and others, that are put in the package. And there's a number of features in ONOS project that were not required for run, like the OpenFlow J thing. So both of those, the net of adding the new features and removing the old, give us about the same package size. And now, if you try to deploy ONOS on a machine that doesn't have any access, you won't need.
Nice. Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Okay, Madan, do you want to give an update on the core?
Yeah. So I think the two main things were looking at issues that were reported, some from the QA team and some that I discovered. So one of those was around events, some events not being delivered for the network config store when running in well, the test was run on a 7-node cluster, but it turns out that this issue surfaces when we use the relaxed consistency mode. So that's an open issue that that needs to be investigated. But for the time being, we disabled the relaxed consistency mode for network config store. So what that would mean is that you have correctness, just that the reads and writes are going to be somewhat more expensive. The other thing was there was some effort spent on the development work on the core side. One notable improvement that was introduced this week is now we have the ability to run unit tests against simulated raft clusters. Previously, the only way we were testing behavior of the primitives was when we actually ran it on a physical cluster setup. But this should give us ability to run extensive tests in a unit test fashion. So that should help us improve the stability and also fix issues appropriately. And also some effort went into integrating with the copycat APIs relevant for dynamic clustering support. So that work is still ongoing.
Great, thank you, Madan. So, Ali, I thought, I don't know if I missed anything, but I just added these two items in here. At least that was visible through the code reviews. Is there anything?
He's not in the room.
Oh, he's not. Okay. So I know that there were a number of new criteria added by Jean and also by some of the Huawei folks who added some criteria and treatment extensions as part of their work for the OPNFE. I'm not aware of any additional work that was done on Southbound at this point in time, other than formulation of the new OpenFlow J. Basically, we published new OpenFlow J libraries. to incorporate all of these changes in there.
Yeah, the OpenFlowJ library was updated to snapshot. So we published snapshot artifacts last night, and we're building against those artifacts for RC1. We'll publish the new OpenFlowJ release before the EMU final release.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, Simon, do you want to give an update on UI?
Yeah, we kept it very short and brief, and so just a couple of items. One was providing the North, Central, and South America map all in one, and also originally just the devices were badgeable, but now you can also badge hosts, which is going to be demonstrated later. And then just keeping the wiki up to date. So it seems to be an ongoing task.
Perfect. Thank you. And Andrea?
Yes, we also added a new application that permits you to see the path between two hosts, the shortest hop count path, the disjoint path, and the new weighted path that Tom added as he told us before. And you can activate it as simply as any other application, and this app will be migrated to the core of the UI later, so it is not as a separate application. I'll do a demo of this later.
Great, thanks. Okay, Subin or John, do you guys want to give an update?
I'll update the QA status. So we complete a number of test script related stories, mainly that we implemented Scrappy onto func intent tests, and Criterion contributed to phase 1 of the IPv6 test, and the phase 2 and 3 will follow next couple of weeks. Whoops.
Perfect.
Yes. Oh, sorry, we have some projector problem. And then, if you remember, end of last spring, we have some massive testing failure issues, and that's attributed to the bug of 3453 that Thomas has fixed. And we have mostly in progress are the documentation work that we want to improve on system test documentation, and also the contribution from Criterion, not Criteria, sorry, that typo, and also Huawei's test. Next slide, please.
Subin, sorry. This is Luca. Just a note, I don't know if it's a common problem or it's just for me, but I'm not able to correctly see the slides. Actually, I see half of the American map. Okay, now I see a slide.
Yeah, it's probably your network connection at office there, because we're seeing okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
In terms of bugs, we planned 5 critical bugs this sprint, and 1 got resolved. That's the one that caused the platform issues. And then there were 11 new bugs filed this sprint. 3 were resolved, and we have total of 111 bugs still remain on Jira. And I'm not going to dig into too much on the detail on those what we deem the high severity bugs. One of them I want to highlight is on ONOS 3401 on the unresolved column, and that's the one that has the SSL connection problem with the OpenFlow switch, and that turned out to be the configuration. It's rather complicated with the OVS switch. We got that configured, but however, we discovered that ONOS at the moment can only connect to one OVS switch with SSL, and so we need to look into that a little bit more.
Okay, so I wonder if this one Ali should be able to help us with. That's actually good data.
Right.
Can I quickly ask, the unresolved, are we planning to fix all of those before release? Or what's the target?
That was the plan, but I'm not sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to decide on whether it's something that we should publish.
Some of these we'll try to fix. Some of them we may not get to.
Yeah, it's clear we're not going to be fixing all of the 111, but we should definitely identify some of the high-level ones, the most critical ones, and address those before EMU final. Okay. Thanks, Subin. All right. So there's REST and CLI. There was some bug fixes. Anybody want to provide an update on that?
Yeah, only for the first part. Now the encoding for the posting in the JSON, the REST call is in base 16 and not in short. So if everybody wants to do a post in the REST CLI, for now on, it's best if it does it in base 16. It is retro-compatible with the short, but the output is only in base 16. So if someone reads the output from the REST and CLI for the flows, it's only base 16 and not short. So it's more human readable.
Great. And then also you fixed the application MIME type, right?
Yes, that's because we were the REST API was the REST Swagger API was expecting a JSON, but it was actually the OAR file of the application, and now it's fixed.
Okay. So now it's expecting application update stream.
Yes.
Great.
Exactly.
Thanks, Andrea. Okay. Also, so let me give an update on this. This is a contribution from the BTI. Their first round of check-ins was just today. What has been finished reviewing and has been merged, and they are ready to submit the next wave, which actually provides end-to-end implementation using SNMP collectors. And so that should be hopefully submitted anytime. And so even though it may not really make it into official EMU release, it will be available as part of master very shortly. So that's actually very good news. Okay, so we plan to build RC1 in the beginning of today, but because of feverish activity of trying to close up some defects and also slip-ins, last-minute functionality, we've postponed the RC1 build till later today. And so hopefully, Brian, I can help you with that.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Other than that, I think that's it. There will be. I don't think we'll have a sprint planning meeting in beginning of next week. But what we ought to do instead is have a meeting with QA and decide on which defects need to be fixed before EMU, and also what the plan is for testing and qualifying the RC1. Given the fact that there are outstanding defects, I expect that we'll have to still cook RC2 sometimes, hopefully middle of next week. Other than that, does anybody have anything else to add?
Not from the room here.
Okay, so so unless there's any other questions, I think we can move to the portions of the demos here, and we'll start with Andrea. Okay, so Andrea, I'm gonna give you the control here.
Okay. Can everybody see the?
Not yet.
See your smiling face.
I'm gonna make sure that you present to everybody here. All right, so now if you share your screen, you should be able to. There we go.
Sure.
Yep, I see the US map and your UI.
Yeah, actually here.
Too much long round trip delay. Oh, you want to project from your computer?
Could you use the show everyone except
Oh, it's coming.
Wow, there it is. Okay. So what we did is a new UI application. You can see the icon down here. This is new icon. And if you click it, you have a couple of options. The first thing you have to do is select a source. And it's badged. As Simon said before, you could see a badge on the host. Before it was only on the device, on the switches. So now we have the host, the source. You can set a destination.
But what's this badge? Somewhere you configured. This is. I want to have a badge source.
Yes.
Okay.
You can set the destination with there are actually both buttons and keyboard keys. Actually, source is 1, destination is 2. And now you can see there is the shortest path between those. And actually, you can see disjoint paths. See the path is changed. Disjoint path and both paths are highlighted. And also, geodata path, that's the path that Tom added, the link weight that Tom added this morning. And you can switch through path. Let me return in the shortest path. You can switch through them and circulate between them, and you highlight different paths. And you can also switch source and destination. In this case, the path changes as you have seen. So this hopefully will help everybody debug and see which is the best way and which are the routes that the packets are taking in the ONOS topology.
So one question.
Yes.
Disjoint paths will give you paths that don't have any common switches in them?
Yes.
Because there is a third path also existing from source to destination.
Yeah, you can circulate through those.
Right now, 2 disjoint paths, right? Oh, okay.
Actually, if you go now, it would change. Also in the bottom left part of the screen, there are 2 paths there. The disjoint path is what you can get from asking REST APIs disjoint paths. It's called to the REST API. Actually, now here we are getting it through Java API because it's internally ONOS, but you can do the same thing through the REST API and obtain the same result.
Great. So is there any other questions? Doesn't sound like it. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Okay, so let me give just a quick demo of the configurability of the pathfinding from a different angle here. So I'll take control from you, Subin. Andrea?
Yes.
Thank you. Got it?
I dropped.
Okay, so then along the similar vein here, I have, if I were to, so using the, if I were to connect to ONOS here.
Tom,
we don't see your
we
screen.
cannot see your screen.
You cannot. Okay.
Is anyone else seeing it? Simon or Luca?
I can't see the screen of Thomas. Now I see Subin, probably because you're talking. Now I see Thomas again.
You shouldn't see me.
But no screens.
Okay, 1 second. How about now?
Yep.
Now I see 100 screens. Okay, now I see it.
Okay, so here,
Yep.
here we have ONOS, and one of the component configuration parameters that we have now is ability to configure behavior of the distributed topology store in its ability to compute paths using different link weight functions. So by default, current value is hop count. And if I were to just use the same application that you just saw from Andrea, I'm using the default path mode, which is right now. So which means that whatever the system would compute by default to be the shortest path, that's what you're seeing right now between the source and destination. Okay, so you can see that in this particular case, one of those paths is going kind of pretty much out of the way, not necessarily intuitively where you would decide to drive if you were to take roads, right? And now, if you were to go back in here and use the set command to set the link link weight function to be geodistance instead, we can see that it took hold. And now, if I were to go back and actually recompute the shortest path, you can see right now it's taking the route of the geographic shortest path. And that's using the default. So underlying default of the path service has been modified. So any intent, any default use or any default request for obtaining shortest paths will now be driven by the geographic distance. And similarly, we could switch the mode to, for example, to change it to be a link metric. And in this particular case, the default behavior will be driven by what was configured in a network configuration as a metric for each of the links. And so this way, this gives the ability for deployers to impose arbitrary metrics and arbitrary preferences to steer traffic according to arbitrary criteria like cost or other things like that. So this allows ONOS to ingest information externally from other sources, from other databases, and properly steer traffic according to those criteria. And so that's it.
What is the meaning in network context, geo distance?
Probably a better proxy for latency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially like or power, right, with optical.
Yeah. Cost and latency.
Yeah.
That's true.
We need the scenic route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was your previous one through California.
I like that. Like, is this the Grand Canyon?
Exactly.
Yellowstone? Who knows what else?
Drive to San Diego on Route 1.
Oh yeah.
But and do notice that it still supports, even in that mode, it still supports disjoint paths. So, yep. Okay. So that's all I had. So I think with that we can probably call it done. Okay, so expect the RC build to be available sometimes later tonight, and we'll see everybody on Monday. And Subin, you and I can maybe sit down and do some bug scrub to figure out what needs to be addressed next week. Okay? All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice weekend.
You too, Thanks, Thomas. Bye.
Bye.